What's going on, y'all? Sean of Math Swap Tutoring here, and I want to challenge you with something. Success in math for the 2026-2027 school year for your child starts now. It literally starts now. Here we are at the end of April, and the school year will be over, at least in my area, by approximately the end of May. And what are you doing? What is your child doing to prepare for success next school year? Check this out. One thing that I've noticed as the owner of Math Swap Tutoring is that there are three times when parents reach out to us the most, you know, for tutoring for their children, and two times are really the main times. First is a few weeks into the new school year. Typically, what's happened is the child has kind of gotten into class and has started early to demonstrate some difficulty in their math subject. Okay, and so that's where um, you know some parents kind of start to they get kind of proactive and they're like, okay, let me go ahead and get my child some help now. Another time is whenever you start to get maybe I would say about a month or so out from midterms. So like somewhere around November, we start to get a lot of students reaching out. And then finally, we start to get a lot of students we get a decent amount of students reaching out maybe about a month and a half or so before the school year ends. Okay. Now those last two times I mentioned are the times that I want to really talk about here now because it's a concern. The reason why it's a concern is a lot of times it is too late to really make a big difference if a child has been struggling that long. I'm not saying it's impossible. It really depends on a lot of factors. It just depends on a lot. Too much to break down here now. But my point is, a lot of times we're used to kind of trying to nip math difficulty problems in the bud too late. Too late. And what I want to encourage you to do is deal with the problem early. The nature of math is such that it's just like building a house or building a building of some kind. You have to lay the foundation first. Well, even before that, you have to grade the land and make sure that the soil is good and all that kind of stuff. Then you have to lay a good foundation, good strong foundation. Then you put up the structure of the house, the skeleton of the house. Then you kind of add all the stuff to it. And if you skip any of those initial steps, then it will show at some point. It'll show. A lot of students' math foundations are shaky. They're shaky. And this could be due to maybe a child had like a teacher at some point that taught in a way that was harder for them to understand. COVID continues to be a source of math difficulty because even though now we're about 5 to 6 years removed from I'll say 4 to 6 years removed from a lot of the school kind of disruption that was caused by COVID. um, there was a learning gap there because students were forced to learn math online through videos and stuff like that. That's something that even is a has a it's a is there's a curve, a learning curve for even for adults to just learn through computer. And so a lot of kids have learning gaps still from COVID. But whatever the learning gap comes from, if it's there and it hasn't been filled, it hasn't been addressed anyhow, then a child could be dealing with that kind of difficulty for a long time. So, what I want to submit to you is that need to deal with math deficiency, math difficulty, math learning gaps as early as you can. And I always say that during the summer is a great time to address learning gaps. It is a great time because you don't have the pressure of making a grade. You don't have to do assignments for grades. So there's no pressure there. You're not having to get up for school or anything like that. So it's a really good time to like identify learning gaps. It's a really good time to um hold on a second, I didn't mean to do that. But it's a really good time to go ahead and address math learning issues. Okay? So I want to encourage you to go ahead and do that. Don't wait until the new year starts because then for one, you've missed a whole summer. I'm not saying that your child just needs to spend all their summer learning. That's a bummer. Nobody's trying to just do straight up school the whole summer. But what I am saying is if you take advantage of that time, for example, you might just kind of like try to figure out whatever the past learning gaps are. You may start to learn the new math subject that's coming up in the next school year, whatever it is. If you do that, it's going to show. One thing I've noticed, even personally, is that whenever like for example, in college, they would give us reading assignments. For example, for a math class, like read such and such section on Euler's method or something like that. And for the most part, I didn't do those assignments. For the most part, I didn't. However, and this is the honest truth, I noticed that when I did read before class, there was a difference in how I understood what the teacher was explaining. Like it actually made more sense to me, and I was like, "Oh, I probably need to be reading the reading assignments for math class before I go to class." Now, I admit I still didn't really do that well with that. I wish I did, but the point that I'm making here is that when it comes to learning math, if you can get like a first look, if you can kind of look at it beforehand, kind of engage the material beforehand, it will prepare you. This can prepare your student looking at stuff in advance, looking up stuff during the summer in advance of math class. And we're just not really used to that kind of advanced learning, like learning ahead of time. But if you're serious about becoming a great math student, these are the kinds of things you have to do. You have to do different things. You have to like people say, if you want different results, you have to take different actions. So these are kind of things that you need to do if you really want to go ahead and improve in math. Like use the summer to your advantage. Help your child to use his or her summer to their advantage. Go ahead and start learning, or to the very least, go ahead and do like address learning gaps. One thing that we do at Mass Swap Tutoring is we use diagnostic tools that are available through IXL to help us to identify learning gaps. And like I say, since you don't have the pressure of a grade, now what you can do is you can identify those learning gaps, kind of go back, reteach those, see where the misunderstanding was, and seal that gap. Okay. And so now your child is going into the next school year and they actually have understandings. Those gaps in the foundation have been filled. So that's something that we do. But then we also this summer we are launching what I'm referring to as summer intensives, which are classes that are, for example, if your child is taking Algebra 1 next year, it's a summer intensive virtual group class in Algebra 1 where we go in depth in Algebra 1. We go ahead and start learning it before your child even gets there. And so by the time they actually go to Algebra 1, they've really seen this stuff before and they're ready to hit the ground running and really really knock it out of the park. So we're doing classes like that, and toward that end, I am asking you if you know what subject is your child learning this year? What subject? I mean, next school year is what I mean to say. And do you have concern about your child's ability to succeed, or do you want them to go in and really make sure that they knock it out of the park in that particular math subject? Because we may right now we're offering an Algebra 1 summer intensive. We may offer others like geometry, depending on what people are actually looking for. But anyway, this is what we're doing because I really want to help students to become good, or I say great math students. But it takes work, it takes initiative, it takes dedication, and intentionality. Okay. So anyway, I'm gonna let that be it. Remember, success in math for the 2026-2027 school year starts now. It starts like now. And we're dedicated here at MassWalk Tutoring to helping your child succeed, to prepare for the next school year. So make sure you kind of check out our different options. We post about them all the time. And I try to remember to post a couple of links if you're interested in either like our summer intensive for math subjects. We also are doing something in person here in the Middle Georgia area, specifically for SAT math, a SAT math boot camp of sorts. So make sure you look out for that as well. Thank you. Just remember, it's not just if you do good in math now, then that's just like you're just either good in math or you're not. It's kind of like a sport. You can become good in math, but you have to believe first, and then you also have to put in the work. All right. Thank you for those of you who joined in, and stay tuned. Stay tuned. Prepare your child for this summer, or prepare your child this summer for next year is what I mean. Take care, y'all.